So I'm going to show you how to use this one system to manage all your goals, interests, passions, everything that you have to do. I'm going to show you how to plan your life in just a few minutes. So if you don't want to spend time creating the things that I created, I actually have a done for you template made and in the description below. So you don't have to get my template. You probably already have your own Notion template, but you can draw inspiration from how I do things and how I keep myself organized. By the way, I'm Tabia Wagwan. Thank you so much for watching this video. By the way, this is episode 3 in the Rebrand Her Life series. Let's get into it. I'm a pink girly. I love pink, okay? It doesn't seem to be going away with age. It seems to only be getting worse. But I decided not to do this template in pink because at the beginning of the year, my mood felt green. To me, green feels like freshness and newness, right? So I wanted a color that represents that freshness and newness, which is why this template is green. Now I'm going to explain what's going on here on the dashboard. So up here you have a banner image. The whole purpose of this is for aesthetics and you can change it, right? You can also rename your planner by tapping where the name is, but I called it the Rebrand-Her Planner because that's the series we're on. So right here you have some images that says Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. It's not for aesthetics. These are buttons. So when you click Q1, it will take you to Q1 quarter page, but we'll get into that later more in depthly because I want to show you that page after I go through this homepage. So you have a vision planner, which I highly recommend. Like if you're going to set your goals and stuff, start at that page. You have habits planner, your reflection pages, notes, and your goals manager. Underneath that, you have this vision board. Now this is not my vision board. This is a fake vision board. It is for our avatar for this video, which is called Mia. So everything here has nothing to do with me. The task you'll see, the habits, they are not mine, okay? So I just created a fake avatar and gave her a fake life and fake responsibilities to show you guys how this planner works. So if you get this, you can change this easily by just hovering over the image, tap the 3 dots at the right corner and hitting replace. So continuing down, you have your this week's habits tracker down here. You'll see that the entire week is here generated from Monday to Sunday. So I put Saturday and Sunday close to each other because that's how a lot of people mine works. They would rather consider Sunday as weekend rather than the beginning of the week. So these are Mia's habits. She wants to wake up at 5 a.m. She wants to take her supplements. She wants to read for 30 minutes. She wants to go to her bed at 10 p.m. So I also chose to put things like wake up at 5 a.m. and bedtime as an habit because a lot of people think that habits is just things like going to the gym or, you know, fancy things, but simple things like going to your bed early and waking up early could be habits as well, not just reading and yoga and meditation and those things. Simple things like drinking a certain amount of water or going to your bed at a certain time can also be an effective habit to try and develop. So on Tuesday, everything is ticked, so it's at 100%. If I uncheck these, you see the percentage changing in real time. Okay, let me give her back her 100%. Basically, I don't want you guys every week to have to come and re-add in your habits. I don't want you to have to come and re-add this image. So if you hit this button that says reset week, it will reset. But before I reset the week, let me show you guys something. So what if you have habits that you don't want to do every single day? Because if you notice, all of these habits is on every single day of the week. That's why it's under daily habits. But what if you have something that you're like, sis, I just want to do something 3 times, or I just want to do something 4 times for the week. What if I don't want to do it every single day? If you want to do it just a few times for the week, then you will go over to the tab that says weekly habits. All right, so I'm going to change this to dark mode just so that you guys can see me interacting with the planner with 2 different settings because this comes in light mode and dark mode. So I'm going to switch it to dark mode just so some of you guys can see if you prefer the light or dark mode. Okay, now we're on dark mode. So you have this person, Mia, she wants to go to the gym, but only 5 times per week. So look at this now. Gym, if she goes Monday, Tuesday, and look at the progress bar moving as she's taking things off. Wednesday, and then she took 2 days break and went back on Saturday and Sunday. 100%, even though only 5 things are ticked off. She wants to plan and review on Mondays and Sunday. Only 2 is ticked off, but yet still it's 100% also. Because once you choose your frequency, when you tick any amount of box throughout the week that matches your frequency, it will say 100 or calculate your percentage based on that. So if she only has 1 box ticked for planning and reviewing and it's Monday, it will say 50%. Meanwhile, if I untick one of the boxes from the 5-week, it will say 80%. So this is very smart. Okay, let me finish doing the rest. So to walk the dog, she wants to walk her dog every other day, 100%, because it's 4. If she wants to meal prep once, as you could see here, and let's say she did it midweek on Thursday, 100%, even though it's one box that is ticked. Now, this is not a feature that comes with Notion. I added a code onto this database, which is why it has this ability. And that is why I made the template available to you, because if I'm supposed to sit here and tell you every single code and formula that I use, that would have to be a whole different video. Since I put the template on dark mode, let me just give you guys a quick look at what it looks like on the homepage in dark mode for those of you who like to use things on dark mode. So this is what it would look like on dark mode. Let me go back to daily habits just so you could see that as well. So that is what it looks like on dark mode. So let me know in the comments if you prefer light or dark mode. I'm going to change this back to light mode and then show you the rest of the home page. So we're back on light mode. I think my favorite version is the light mode. So on the dashboard, when you get into Notion, you'll be able to see your today's task right on the home page. So you don't got to click and go anywhere else to see what you have to do for the day. It will automatically come here. You don't need to come and add things on your today task board. It reads your calendar and find what is happening today, and it puts it on this little list right here. Over here is a note to self board. Anything that you want to keep top of mind or to remember, just jot it down right there. If you want to put a quote or something about yourself, affirmations, whatever, just a little section to, you know, write something that you want to keep top of mind, then you're able to see all your tasks for the month. And once again, these are not my tasks. This is for our avatar, Mia. And you can notice some very interesting things that are happening. So you notice that she has do laundry. It's not ticked off and it says 8 days overdue. You saw that it says work 9 to 5 and she hit done. So it says completed and it tells everything that is overdue and by how many days. Whatever is due today will say due today. And you can see hit all those same tasks that says due today up here as well. The day Mia has to go to her job, it says 3 days to go. When she has to submit her English paper, it says 7 days to go. Once again, this is not a feature that comes in Notion directly. It is a code or a formula that I put into it that makes it has this ability. So beside the calendar, I have a quote that says, time is not refundable, use it with intention. So if you come here and you look at this and you're like, I don't feel like to do it, and you look over, it says time is non-refundable, use it with intention. Okay, it's saying stay on your Zoom. So you have a quick capture section that allows you to quickly add something as it comes to mind without needing to sit down and get your laptop and plan anything out, right? You don't have to click into Q1, Q2, Q3 to add your task. You could just do it right here from the home dashboard if you're in a hurry. So you can add a new task, add a new note, or add a new goal with just a click of a button. Let's say you're walking around on school campus and you remember, oh, I need groceries so I can meal prep. My meal prep day is coming up, but I don't have all the vegetables and stuff that I need. So you would just open your Notion app, go to add new task, and just add buy groceries. You don't have to fill in the day, the priority, the category, the week assigned, none of that. All you need to do for now is just add your buy groceries. Yeah, now you could put the date you want to do this, you could put the priority if you want, but I'm just letting you know you don't have to do it. But after you have done that though, where did it go? I'm going to show you exactly where it go, because as you could see, it's nowhere on this page and it's not on this calendar. The reason why it's not on the calendar is because you didn't give it a due date. So down here we have important pages. You have a mobile view. So what that is, it's a more streamlined way to view your Notion template on your phone, because the way it looks here on the laptop, because the screen is so wide, it doesn't look the same on your phone. So I created a version that looks more fitting for your phone for mobile view. So this is the help page. This is where you'll find tutorials to use this specific template. How do you make changes? How do you change your vision board? How do you link pictures to pages? Where do I get these GIFs from that moves? Where do I get this widget that tells the time? So it has a lot of information to help you to customize. It tells you even the size of the banner here, the size of this image, the size of this vision board, just so you can recreate and make the space your own, right? So you can change anything that you're looking looking at. You're not supposed to delete the all database page under any circumstance if you get this specific template. So that is it for the home dashboard. So the function of this specific dashboard for you is to inspire you, right? So you have your vision board there, the workspace look aesthetically pleasing, it makes you want to be productive. The second thing is to quickly view what's relevant right now. You can see what's relevant today, this week, and this month without having to click any further. So right there on the home dashboard, you're able to see everything that could be possibly relevant to you. So we're going to click into the quarter page so I can show you things about goal setting, etc. Now, because we're in Q2, let's go to Q2. So those of you who want to use a 12-week year method, this planner is perfect for you because each quarter page is done with the 12-week year method in mind. So you're going to see that as we go through. So first thing you will see on your quarter page is your goals. So these are Mia's goal, not my goal. Mia, which is our avatar, she wants to get 90% or more on her final exam. She wants to launch a podcast. She wants to do some house decor. She wants to add $3,500 to her emergency fund. Now, a few interesting things can be seen with how the goals are displayed. So you're able to add an image or thumbnail, whatever you want to call it, for each goal. So below the image, you will see the name of the goal. You'll see the progress of each goal. So she's at 16% for this one, 62 for this one, 67 and 71.43% for her savings goal. Below that, you will see how many days does she have to go. So even though you're setting goals for your entire quarter, it doesn't mean you have to take the entire quarter to achieve the goal, right? So you will notice that each goal has a different due date. This one is due on June the 30th, which is our savings goal. This one is due on April the 22nd. This one is due on May the 1st. This one is due on May the 27th. So your goals doesn't necessarily have to take the entire quarter unnecessarily, right? And these countdowns telling you how long you have to go can really put things into perspective for you, especially if you're someone who has time blindness and you don't have a good awareness or sense of time. This will show you, sis, you only have 14 days to go with this. You only have 23 days to go with this. And it gives you a level of urgency and accountability. So I put the goals at the top because I talk a lot about having your goals top of mind and not setting and forgetting. So as soon as you go into your quarter page, you're greeted by your goal, when it's due, how many days you have left, and your progress on those goals. So you cannot lose track of your goals if you're using a template like this. Now let's click on one of these goals just to see what happens when you do so. So let's hit podcast. Let's make it full screen. Now let's scroll down. On each goal page, when you click them, you will see what is your why for pursuing this goal. I think it is my next video where I will talk about why your why is important when it comes to goals, so I will not go over that now. Also, your strategy for achieving this goal. When you scroll down, you will see set and manage milestone. These boxes, if you hit done, is what's causing it to say 20%, 50%, 80%, that is what controls your progress. So when you get this, you will add in what you must do in order for a goal to be completed. And as you hit done for each of the milestones, that is when the progress bar will change. So right now your progress bar should say 0 because I unchecked everything. Now if I check one thing which says research name for the podcast, 12% is done. If I hit set up recording area and purchase equipment, 37% of it is done. Even if you were to add more things, it knows how to adapt to how many things are on your list and calculate it correctly. Your milestone is basically the small incremental steps that you must take in order to achieve a goal. So it's not just one step that's going to take you to achieve a goal. It is going to be multiple small steps. So your milestones for each goal is all the little small steps and all the little small things you must do in order to reach your goal. So let's look at the savings one because the milestone is just a little bit different. So here's the milestone. So these are number milestones. So when she say 500, she hit 500. When she reaches 1,000, she would take 1,000, 15, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, 3,500. So if you had a goal that says 10,000 Instagram followers, that's a goal. You can have a milestone that says 1,000 followers, 2,000 followers, 3,000, 4,000. As you're hitting each of those milestones, you begin to tick it off. So that's another use case with these milestones. Now enough of this, let's go down the page. So when you're on your quarters page and you click on your goals and you come to this page, if you scroll to the bottom, you will see your quitting contract. Now, what is a quitting contract? I learned about this from another creator, and basically it is an agreement you make with yourself that you will not quit or you cannot quit unless X, Y, and Z. Why is this important? Well, a lot of people, they like to give up on goals prematurely. So this takes the emotions out of you quitting. If you quit, which I believe people should quit sometimes, it will be rather a strategic decision and not an emotional decision. So when you say, this is the reason I'm doing it, this is the benefits of me doing it, I know I will deal with these obstacles. For me personally, when it comes to like my goal related to YouTube, obstacles I could possibly face that could discourage me is things like I have school, so I know consistency is going to be hard. So it's going to take a while for me to figure out a schedule or a way how to make everything work. So list out all the possible obstacles that you know you would have to deal with while trying to achieve your goals and put it at the front. Everything you try to do is going to have some form of obstacle or hardship that you're going to have to overcome. So you put that into your quitting contract so that when it starts to come up, it's not like, wow, I'm surprised, I didn't expect it to be like this. You knew it was going to be like that. Then you put, what do you plan to do to overcome those obstacles? So me, if the video isn't perfect, once it's usable, I'll use it. Even if I don't like the way I look, I don't like the way I sound, everything wasn't perfect, I still will go ahead with it. Even if I can't upload every single week, I'll upload as frequently as I can, even though I know I might have things for school and other things that is a higher priority than YouTube. I will still progress and still post as much as I possibly can until I find my perfect flow. Then it says insert specific conditions or criteria for terminating the goal. For me, in order to make sure that I'm not making an emotional decision, I have to first post 50 YouTube videos in 1 year before I can quit. If I haven't done that, then that means I haven't done enough work to know whether I'm a failure or success. So for Mia here, she could put that I'm not allowed to quit podcasting until I have uploaded 100 podcast episode. So it's you putting in stipulations where you can quit. And sometimes it's not just how much work you have to do before you quit or you're allowed to quit, but sometimes it could be things like if it's affecting my mental health or it doesn't align with me, then you can quit because you don't want to be doing something where people see you and you look like you're going through a midlife crisis and the sponsor of that is your goals, right? So if something is really affecting you, you can. So create your own grounds on which you can terminate the goal. Add your signature and your date. So that is what it looks like when you click on a goals page. Let me go back. If you scroll down your quarters page, you will see your reflections for that quarter. So what your reflection pages are is to do just that, reflect. Let me go on April, but there's 2 times you want to use this reflection page, at the beginning of the month and at the end of the month. So we're in April at the time of recording this. So when you hit your reflection page, the top half should be completed before the end of the month and the bottom half is for at the end of the month. Right? For every month, you're supposed to have your top priority. You need to know, okay, this month, above all else, this is the priority. So what will I achieve this month? She put that she wants to declutter her house, donate clothes and furniture. The other thing, she needs to get her brand assets for the podcast created. She needs to get the exam topics and create her study guide. So she's saying this month, this is what I want to achieve. So if you want to add another achievement, just hit the add new objective button and a new box will come where you can write whatever you want. When you tick these off, it strikes and cross something out. Okay, so the note section is where you can write whatever you want to write about the month, how you perceive this month. Like, does this month has a theme? What do you want to say to yourself about this month? What do you want to remind yourself about this month? This could be whatever you see fit that you want to write. Then over here is where you can add a quote or scripture. So for this example, I put a scripture here. It is a scripture that talks about new beginnings and it's from Isaiah 43. Down here is where you'll see your weekly scores for the month. So as you add in your task and you begin to tick them off, you will be able to see your scores automatically generated. Why is this important? So when you go to do your reflection, you can see what was your productivity level throughout the month. So at the end of the month, when you're doing your reflection, you will see the truth about how productive you've been this month, and then you will answer these questions. So it asks you things like, what should I keep doing, stop doing, and start doing next month? And then you would write your answer, right? So each time you see these triangles, they are toggles. delete what you don't want. Whatever is unnecessary, you could just delete it, or you can rewrite something. Okay, whatever you want to put, you could rewrite something and add your answer right below that. So that's what a reflection page look like. It looks the exact same for every single month. If you don't want this to be your reflection for the month, just go like this and delete everything. Okay, just delete everything, and you can do what you want to do from scratch. So moving on from the reflection section of your quarter page, and now this is your 12-week task overview. If you use the 12-week year method, you would know that you don't plan or manage your life from a monthly or yearly perspective. You do it weekly, and every week you're supposed to have a score. You have week 1, week 2, week 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 12, and there's a bonus week. The reason why there's a bonus week at the end of the 12 week is because you will notice that every 7 days is a week, right? But there will be some extra days left, or an extra week for each 12-week period. So whatever days is left, you add it under bonus week. Hope that makes sense. Every task you have to do for the week, you would see it here, and you would see your weekly score. Over here is some weekly scores summarized. So without the task, you're able to see your weekly scores. So the reason why these are extended and these are not extended is because they are empty. So I haven't assigned any tasks week 4 to the bonus week. So when I first showed you guys this on my personal Notion template, in previous videos, you guys were so blown away by the fact that I could track my progress on a weekly basis. So I know this section of your quarter page is going to be very relevant to you. This is not where you plan your 12-week task. This is just where you're able to see an overview of your task grouped together by week along with the progress. Down here is where you plan your task. First thing you notice is your unscheduled task. So you remember earlier where we added to buy groceries from the quick capture section, we hit the button and write buy groceries. This is where it came. So it disappeared. We didn't see it on the home page, but right here is where it went. Okay, once you add a task in this system that you haven't given a due date, it will show up on this list. So whenever you have time, you can come here and add in the necessary tags to the task. So this one says clean room. This one is personal. You have week assigned. So let's say I want to add this to week 4. So I'm looking for week 4 Q2. There it's added. The priority for doing this, I want to say this is high priority, and the due date, it would be week 4. So maybe somewhere in here. So as soon as I did that, you notice that clean room is gone. But where did it go to? It went on this calendar right down here, and it's saying it's 16 days to go. So you would add the necessary tags and add your due date. Once you add the due date, it will disappear off of the unscheduled task list. Now over to the right, you have your this week's to-do list. So without looking at this whole calendar, you can just see what do you have to do this week. The closer you are to the due date, it will put that task higher up this week's list. So everything that's due today, you see it at the top. What's due tomorrow next, and what's 1 day away follows 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. So if you go to the tab that says all tasks, you will see everything. If you go to completed, you will see what is completed. Now something I like to do is to tap this box and add a check mark symbol. So if I check off that I attended the team meeting, I would go back up here, go to the completed list, tap the square, and change it to a check mark, so that as I'm looking at my task list, I can see what I had done already versus what I haven't done yet. Now that you looked at unscheduled task and this week's to-do list, now we're going to scroll down to the task calendar. This is where I like to add tasks because I like to plan out my weeks and month with the calendar view, because it put things into perspective for me. Like some of us, when we don't have a good sense of time, we think a month is so long until you're planning your month on something like this and you're 2 weeks in and you're like, oh my gosh, the month is already done. Now I already showed you guys this calendar. This is the exact same calendar that is shown on the home dashboard, but something is different about this one. If you look at the top of the calendar up here, you would notice that there are some tabs. So first tab is all tasks. That's what we're looking at. Then you have unscheduled tasks. That's the table. That's basically the same thing as up here. Only thing is you can see the full width of the table. Then you have your goals tasks. These are tasks only related to your goals. So to create brand assets, submit English paper, meal prep, brainstorm 3 podcast episode, your mentorship call, script 3 podcast episodes. Those things are related to your 12-week goals. If you go to personal task, you will only see things that are related to your personal life. So things like do laundry, cook. You have things on the personal calendar like order cake ingredients, hair appointment, declutter bedroom, meal prep, clean room, girls night, doctor checkup. So those things are not related to like your goals. So they would be under personal. Then you have your events calendar. This is anything that you will do that requires you to be somewhere at a certain time, and your appointments. You can also add time to this as well. So let me click on the due date and include time, and let's put something. Let's change this to a PM. So 12 p.m. Now, when you look on the calendar, you see the time right here. Now, if you go back to all tasks, you will see everything, right? But sometimes it's good to see things with a little bit more clarity, right? Sometimes I just want to see what's personal. Sometimes I just want to see what are events. Sometimes I want to see what's actually related to my goals. If you notice, you can have more than one tag on a task. So this task is both personal and a 12-week goal task. One thing I will say is that whenever I plan my task and I'm looking at this huge calendar, it lets me know just how much I do not have time to waste. Like when I look at this, I'm like, I better make use of each and every day, because look how many things I have to do. I'm like, there's no doing it tomorrow. When you have a calendar full of tasks, it's like tomorrow has its own thing that I need to take care of. So there is no putting stuff off. There's no procrastination. It's like it's got to be done today. That's one of the good things about using your calendar view and seeing how packed your days are. So an alluring mistake you can make when you're using something like this type of template is that you can get caught up in trying to fill out the entire template, and you want all your weeks to be filled out. But I will caution you that in order for the template to be effective, in order for your goals or your tasks to be effective, it doesn't need to be long. It just needs to be powerful. You just need to add things that will get you result. Don't be excited and add 12 tasks in 1 week just because it looks good on the template. Put what's necessary, put what's needed. And one more thing I want to point out when it comes to me doing my task is I do not put things on my 12-week overview that is personal. So when I'm filling out something, for example, let me go down to unscheduled task. But let's say I want to buy groceries, right? It would be personal. The priority would be, let's say, medium. And the week assigned, I would leave that blank and just add the due date. What that is going to do is it's not going to make it come up as a part of the calculation for my 12-week year. So let me add it as the 6th to show you something. The 6th would have fall into the first week, but it is nowhere to be found up here because I didn't add the 12-week tag. If you want something to be a part of this calculation or show up here as your 12-week overview, you have to assign it to a week. If you leave it blank, it will not be calculated as a part of this percentage. So for me personally, I don't think it's necessary for every single thing to be a part of my 12-week, because why does washing my hair or shaving my legs need to be a part of my 12-week progress? It's not a part of my progress. It's just something that I do for me personally, right? It's not necessarily going to directly affect my goals. So another tip that I have when it comes to tasks is if you know what is the core things you have to do, you can just put them in ahead of time, if that makes sense. So I put in the staple things that I know I have to do. If I know that every Tuesday I create content, then I can put in creating content for every Tuesday. If I know that every Friday I typically edit, then I would put edit ahead of time, and I would leave space and room for things as they come up, because as you're living your life, things are going to come up. You don't have to force yourself to plan out an entire 12-week. You can plan bi-weekly, weekly, or monthly if that is how you prefer to do things. So another tip that I have when I'm using my template, what I like to do is I like to take random things that I know I'm supposed to do that are important and just add them right here on my unscheduled task list. And as it becomes clearer as to when it will fit into my schedule, I add a date to it. So I use it as like a task brain dump as well. So guys, that is it for the goals quarter page. So because of time purposes, I will not be going over all the pages today. So I went over the most essential pages so you can get a feel of what it's like to have this goal and task manager template. So some of the pages I didn't get to go over today was the goals manager, vision planner, habit planner, the mobile view. However, it doesn't matter because if you get the template, there will be tutorials on the help page that shows you how to make changes and really personalize the template and really make it your own, so you won't feel lost when you're using it or anything like that. And you could always reach out to me and I'll be happy to help. So that would be it for today's video. You can watch my Rebrand Her Life series, which has about 3 videos now, and by next week it will have 4 videos. It's all about rebranding your life and reinventing yourself and becoming unrecognizable. And I'm talking too much, girl. Bye. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.